With Houston's explosive job market, we've been getting lots of calls from young professionals who are moving to Houston and want to know where the best place to live is. They're typically looking for fun, convenience, and they've got an active lifestyle. Today, we're going to be talking about why Midtown is one of the best neighborhoods to live in Houston for young professionals. We're going to give you the top 8 reasons, and we're getting after it right now.
Living in Houston, Texas, where Drew and I give you the good, the bad, the ugly, the ins and outs of living in Houston. So if that's what you want to know more about, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you're notified every time we put out a new video. And look, whenever anyone you know are looking to move here to Houston, give us a call, send us a text message, send us an email, reach out to us any which way. Just don't be like some of these folks who have been reaching out lately after they've already started the process and realized that they need to be working with us.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is location.
You know, the top 3 things you need to know about real estate is location, location, and location. So
very true. So it's 5 minutes from all major freeways. You can pretty much get anywhere pretty easily, pretty quickly, hop on a freeway, which is always a good thing in Houston instead of having to cut through town, sit through a bunch of red lights. So that's a great thing. You're also super close to downtown in Montrose. And we just did a video on Montrose. So like you've got kind of an extension of Midtown, right, is Montrose. And I mean, they're definitely 2 distinct neighborhoods, but as far as nightlife and being able to have like choices of places to go and restaurants and things, you kind of have the best of both worlds, I think, in Midtown. Plus you have all of downtown as well.
Yeah.
It's got a great walkable lifestyle. Again, it's one of the higher, has one of the higher walkability scores of 86.
86, that's pretty high for Houston.
It is. I think Montrose, that Galleria Uptown area, and Midtown all have a score of 86, and I think that's the highest. That's as high as it gets for Houston, actually. And it has the second highest transit score with I think it's the red, I have this notes here, Metro Rail red line. So you can get on the McGowan Street station in Midtown, and that will take you either to downtown, so you don't have to pay for parking, which can be very expensive if your company's not paying for it and you work downtown. Or you can hop on it and take it to the Med Center. That same train that goes to the Med Center will also take you to Reliant Stadium, which hosts the Texans. And so if you're into football and you are a Texans fan, there's also lots of other events that happen there. The biggest one being the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is fun. And parking and Ubering can be a real bear. So being in Midtown and being able to just walk to the train and hop on it and go to and from, wow, huge time saver. And to me, that's a big selling point. Right there. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is an event that it goes on for 3 weeks every year. Usually it kicks off that last weekend of February, first week of March. So.
And it's a great place and a great time to get loaded up on all your required cowboy gear, your hats, your boots, your shirts.
That's true. It's very, very true.
All right, so the location, then light rail, right?
Yep.
And then the next one would be
nightlife. I guess I forgot to say number 2 was the Metro Rail. The fact that you have that ability to get on. Most neighborhoods in Houston don't have any kind of train system, so that's a big selling point. Okay, Midtown is famous for its nightlife. So the hub of like where bars were centrally located in Houston has moved throughout the years that I've been alive anyway. And I feel like nightlife has really pretty much settled in Midtown now. It seemed like for quite a while. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's very much a young professional, community. Yeah. So any night of the week you can, find a heaving bar or restaurants, that have things going on, like DJs. In fact, I think a lot of the clubs around here, around Midtown, attract, you know, world-renowned DJs. They'll have things like bingo night, steak night, lots of game watching, you know, Monday Night Football, that kind of thing. Trivia.
It's generally, if I'm going to go out and watch some college football or watch some pro football, I'll take the time to go down into Midtown and find a good place, because there's so much room, and that's generally where most people gravitate to.
Yep. So basically you can, you know, become a regular, or you can hop around if that's your thing. I will tell you that my favorite wine bar is called 13 Celsius, and it's a really cool place in Midtown. So we highly recommend you check it out. It's, gosh, I remember when it first opened, but they took an old dry cleaner and they turned it into this really cool, looks like a very European old world wine bar, and it's amazing, and I highly recommend that if you're into wine, you should check it out. Okay, so number 4 on our list is parks.
I see, whenever you mentioned parks, I never thought of Midtown as having a whole lot of parks or having that park active lifestyle. But you were the one that pointed out to me Midtown Park, right?
Well, so it used to be, the first park that they went in and sunk, a bunch of money into to redo and rehab, it was Baldwin Park. Because Midtown was, kind of a transitional area, and now it's pretty much fully developed. You still have a few little pockets, but they cleaned up Baldwin Park, and it's beautiful, and they have a lot of events that go on there. But then they took, I think it's like a whole city block. I'm trying to remember. It's 5,000. Yeah. Well, it's even bigger than that, because the dog park is 5,000 square feet. So it's called Midtown Park. And they host all kinds of free events, and they've got all kinds of amenities. They've got a reflecting pool. They do yappy hour.
Yappy
so
hour.
You can take your dog.
Can you imagine happy hour with your pups, right?
Yep. They've got an art wall and swings and all kinds of, I think they've even got like life-size social games and that kind of thing going on. There's even a pavilion and stage area. So I think they do concerts and that kind of thing sometimes. We're going to put a link in there so that you can check out and see what kind of activities are going on.
A link in there, down in the description.
In the description. So we talked about Midtown Park, and we talked about Baldwin Park. Bagby Park is closer to kind of that West Gray little strip, very happening. Yeah. But there's lots of mixed use, restaurants and bars, and housing, apartments, like rentals. And it's got 5,000 square feet. It's a 5,000 square foot dog park, which is like the size of an average house lot, right? In the Heights or something. They've got a bocce ball court, shaded seating, and they've got some water elements too. And they have activities going on there as well. And I'll also put a link in the description for that. So there's always something going on. And that's one of the things that I like about Midtown. There's just lots of energy. If you're new to Houston and you're, young and single and you don't know anybody, it's just an easy place to get out and meet people, because there's so many activities. It's just, The other thing as far as outdoor space goes is that it's super close to Buffalo Bayou, which has lots of trails. You can hike, bike, again, rollerblade, go exercise.
Get one of those where you've got the bike, but you have to push the bike with your arms. You've never seen those?
I've seen them, but I don't know what they're called. Okay, so number 5. So number 5 is the community. There's lots going on. I mean, there's just a packed event calendar, and lots of free things to do. So it's not like you're having to pay for every little thing that you do. So they've got, different yappy hours, and they're doing one that's themed for Halloween, which will be kind of fun. You can dress up which is today, happens to be Halloween that we're filming this on. You can take Zumba classes. They've got Samba classes. They do this cool thing called Chalk on the Block, which is like a 3D interactive art kind of experience, and I think they do it once a month, and they have different themes. So like for November, it's like gobble gobble turkey trot, something like that. But it literally feels like you've stepped into another dimension. So that's a really cool experience that we encourage you to go check out. They also have Get Fit in Midtown. So if you are into doing group workouts, another great way to meet people, I think. And then they've got the Midtown Farmers Market, which is held every Saturday at Elizabeth Baldwin Park from 10 to 2. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, and they'll have like produce, baked goods, and other goodies.
Now, you were mentioning to me earlier when we were doing the research for this, also, weren't there like educational classes that you could go and learn how to do?
They have something called Teach You Tuesday. So, like, for example, for the holidays, they're doing one, it's like you learn how to make a foliage wreath, you know, so different kind of like crafty things. But yeah, awesome. Teach You Tuesday. So,
you know, for me, you mentioned the community, the culture of just that part of town, everybody going out, being active, being interactive in a number of different environments, you know, it seems great.
Yeah, there's literally something for everybody, I think. And again, if you're new to Houston, what a great place to be with all these opportunities to get out and meet people. It's easy. You won't have to work at it.
All right, so number 6, I get to cover this because I was the one doing the research on it. Culture. I did not realize, and when I was talking this over with Drew, of course she schooled me on it, there's a number of museums and art centers there in Midtown. There's the Buffalo Soldier Museum, which is kind of near and dear to my heart. I'm an ex-Army guy, and really just talks about the origins and the history of African Americans serving, particularly after that post-Civil War era. The Houston Fire Museum, and it's not about creating fire, but about the tremendous firefighters and the people that have gone in and the technology and the people that have done that, as well as the ensemble theater. And then last but not least, there's they
call it MATCH, which is an acronym for Midtown Arts and Theater Center Houston. MATCH. That's a contemporary arts venue, and they've got space for theater, dance, music, as well as gallery shows. So you really, it covers the whole gamut. So if you're into culture and you're afraid that you'd be missing out in Midtown, you don't have to actually leave the neighborhood. You've got a couple of museums, and you've definitely got some really good arts.
So one of our favorite sections that we have to cover in just like every video.
Cuisine.
And look, let's just take a quick pause here. You and I have realized as we travel other places across the U.S., we're spoiled rotten. We go to restaurants, people will be like, oh, go to this place, it's so great. And we're like, this place wouldn't last a week back in Houston. And
we went out of town a couple of weeks ago, and we were actually glad to get back because the food just wasn't very good. It was really disappointing. So
yeah, so for us, we've been spoiled, and when we talk about
you will be too.
You will be too. Yep.
So, okay, we're not going to get into like too many specifics about where to eat, but we're just going to let you know that there are over 200 restaurants, and any kind of food you can think of, from Italy to the Middle East,
Korean barbecue, Vietnamese food,
Thai.
Just everything.
Spanish. You've got Mexican. You've got every kind of food you can think of.
I love that little. It's like styled after the taco shops in Mexico City. Right there on the corner, it's that open market.
Oh, the Cyclone Anayas with the patio, patio seating. It's very good. You've got wine. You've got wine bars, beer gardens, coffee shops. You've got the whole spectrum too, from like low key to finer foods. So, there's kind of something for everybody's taste and pocketbooks, which is nice. The other big thing it's not about restaurants, but if you like to cook, which we do, Whole Foods. There's a Whole Foods grocery store in Midtown, which is a game changer, because it used to be that there was one small little grocery store called Randall's, which is a part of a chain, but it was a small location, and it just was not a great place to go grocery shopping. And if you're like us, we cook a lot, and having fresh quality foods that are healthy without a lot of additives. I mean, we won't get into that, but we are not, again, we're not affiliated with Whole Foods or getting any kind of kickbacks. It just happens to be where we shop. And there's a great location in Midtown with really good parking. And in fact, that's where all of the personal shoppers go. Like if you're doing the Instacart, that kind of thing, that's the location that they actually pull
it all from.
Yeah, most of their orders from.
And because of that, it is the best stocked. It's generally, if you can't find it somewhere else or they're out,
they usually have it.
They usually have it there because they prioritize that one. And the reason that most of the personal shoppers and everything go there is because it's so conveniently located to anywhere in Houston.
Yep. And I want to add this on. It's not cuisine related, but another just positive point about living in Midtown is that you really don't have to leave the neighborhood for much. You've got nail salons, dry cleaners, you have pharmacies like Walgreens, CVS, that sort of thing, gas stations, everything is in close proximity. So you're not having to drive, 10, 15, 20 minutes to go do just your everyday things. It's all there in the neighborhood. So, all right. Well, that brings us to point number 8, which is housing.
Housing.
Which is the most important because you got to have a place to live, right? So,
got to have a place to live if you're going to live there, right?
That's absolutely. So Midtown is mostly comprised of apartment buildings, townhomes, and condominiums. There are a few single-family homes that are old, really old, kind of sprinkled throughout, and there are a few newer single-family homes, but they're more of like a townhome style. If they're single-family, if they're newer. So it's more of an urban feeling kind of a neighborhood.
Well,
they're building more vertically,
and it's a low maintenance. People that need a low maintenance lifestyle, they don't want to have to deal with they won't have to deal with the yard. They don't want to have to deal with exterior maintenance. They just want to be able to lock and leave, or
but you'll likely have a balcony or some kind of outdoor space. It's just likely going to be small. You're not going to have a big yard. It's not going to be that kind of scene.
No maintenance.
Right. And according to niche.com, 78% of Midtown residents rent and 22% own. So if you're an investor, it's a great area to invest in because it's such a popular place to live. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, or to buy and then hold that and then rent it, have your first property as a rental property as you move up and on.
Which I've had quite a few clients do.
Yeah.
And they do make great investment properties,
For that reason.
Okay, so the median rent in Midtown is $1,544. The national average is $1,096. So it's a little bit higher. The median home value is $374,000 and change, and the national average is $229,800. So honestly, in Houston, that's a very affordable number. Oh my gosh, especially in the last 2 years, prices have just gone up. Like the appreciation rates have just been crazy. And the fact that you can live so close to town and be somewhere for under $500,000 is just spectacular. Like that really, to me, is a great deal.
That's what happens a lot. People come here to Houston, they get a job, and then their job will take them different places, but they always seem to either have to come back or want to come back and keep coming back into Houston time and time again.
I have worked with multiple people who have moved in and out of Houston multiple times. I think we talk about that quite a bit. So price ranges for homes that are actively on the market right now, just to give you an idea. Again, if you're interested, if you're getting ready to start your search, give us a call and we can talk about, real numbers day of, because we don't know when you're going to be watching this.
Don't call us. I remember that lady. She's like, "Oh, I've been doing this. And I just came across y'all's thing that I wish I'd have reached out to y'all."
We've had a couple of calls lately like that, and they wound up. Anyway, we won't get into that, but got into a situation, and then anyway, please call us if you're thinking about making that move.
Exactly.
So for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo in an older building, it's like $165,000, which is, again, that's a smaller, on up to $3.9 million for a penthouse.
Wow. That's a lot.
Penthouse unit apartment. And that's in a new high-rise building called the Residences at the Allen, which won't be completed until 2023. The average price for a condo / townhome in Midtown is $371,000 as of today. As of today when we're filming. The average price for a single family home, on the other hand, is $492,606. So like $120,000 difference. Still very affordable. You're under $500,000. I have a client who has lived in, at this point, I think 5 major cities, and each major city he lives in, he goes in and he buys a property, usually around $500,000. He goes into neighborhoods that are prime, like Midtown, or near a university, and he will buy a property and live there, but he will always get a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and he will rent out the other 2 bedrooms, and then it basically pays his mortgage. And that's also one way to do it. And he did that, and he has amassed quite a bit of real estate that way. And then once he moves on and gets transferred to his next position, he'll keep the property then as an investment. So just a little story and tip.
Look, appreciate you guys sticking around. If you stuck around this long, give us that thumbs up. Let us know that we did a great job. And we want to hear from you. If you've got questions, comments, feedback for us, put it down in the comment section and give us a call. We'd love to help you. And until next time, see you later.